My name is Alan Lee. Welcome to presentation Tawnies of the West. The segment deals with the event of the black towns in America. The black towns began in earnest after the Civil War. They were begun by people who could not stand the conditions of post-war Reconstruction in the American South, and they left the South. To be fair, the black towns probably began well before Plymouth Rock and Jamestown, a town that was settled at the mouth of the PD River in South Carolina in 1526, actually settled by the Spanish, but they brought with them a couple hundred slaves. And when they left, after the town collapsed and failed, they left their black slaves in America. So, enjoy our next segment. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about the end of the Civil War and the black towns. After the end of the Civil War, there were a lot of communities and people of African descent who had to leave the South because they were mistreated because they were free. They decided that they would be safer in the areas of Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, where there were a lot of black people already living there who had lived with the Indian people before the Civil War started. Now, a lot of the black towns like Boley, Oklahoma, and Nicodemus, Kansas, and Brownsville, Nebraska, were settled for the sole purpose of the freedom and peace of our descendants and our people. Now, one of the interesting things about the black towns is that there were a lot of African American women who were in the forefront of building the schools and building the town halls and developing the churches and just taking care of the families, the same as we have today. One of the interesting things about African American women was the fact that they were also soldiers and they were mail order brides. Now, why would somebody order a bride out of the mail, do you know? Yes, very good answer, very good answer. Anybody else want to deal with that? No? Okay. Well, what happened was, yes, ma'am.
So you can have help around the house,
yes,
and help in the farm,
yes,
and other things like that.
Very good. Absolutely. Very good answer. Now, what happened was that a lot of the African American men went out west first. They were looking for gold, or they were looking for whatever else they could do, jobs, logging jobs, farming jobs. Then they had to look for women later on. So they called these benevolent societies, they were called, in Philadelphia and in Boston, and they asked them to send honest women so that they could help them raise their families. And here's some photographs in here of some of the African American women who were both soldiers and settlers. Here's a photograph of African American women who were with the Indians. If you can see that. See that right there? Okay. When they were coming out west. Okay. A woman named Kathy Williams was served with the Buffalo Soldiers up in Trinidad, Colorado in the 1870s. So I want to say to you about the sod houses on the plains that they built and some of the things that they did to make themselves homes in the West. And all your song is, it might get a little bit harder. All you have to do is say, I've got a sod house on the plains, okay? It goes like this. I've got a sod house on the plains. Oh, the grass turns green on the roof every time it rains. The riders, they always get here before the train. And I've got a sod house on the plains. All you have to do is sing, I've got the sod house on the plains part, okay? You can sing the whole verse if you like to. If you like to tap your feet and get loose a little bit here and clap and try to hold your spot though if you can, okay? Here we go. I got my schooner out there behind the shack. I grow my crops on both sides of the tracks. I got a real good deal from the railroad man. I make my house a station, I could have this chunk of land. There you go. And I've got a side house on the plains. Oh, the grass turns green on the roof every time it rains. The riders, they always get here before the train. And I've got a side house on the plains. Very good. Well, I draw my mules and I help them load the freight. There ain't no town here, just a place where people wait. We'll get the cattle, beans, and the corn all ready to go. We'll line up the engine and I'll fill it with the water and coal. Here's your part now. And I've got a side house on the plains. Oh, the grass turns green on the roof every time it rains. The riders, they always get here before the train. And I've got a side house on the plains. All right. One more time, you'll be able to sing the whole verse. Well, the Indians leave their dogs here when they ride. And I don't mind the company except when they bite. They ride those cattle cars, they drum and sing. Travel on down the tracks trying to sell their things. It's your part. And I've got a side house on the plains. Oh, the grass turns green on the roof every time it rains. A little bit louder now. The riders, they always get here before the train. And I've got a side house on the plains. Your part one more time. And I've got a side house on the plain. Give yourself a hand. Good job.